ballistic missile tests. President Trump also tweeting, quote, Iran is playing with fire. They don't appreciate how kind President Obama was to them, not me. Joining me now to discuss Christopher Nile and Nile Gardiner. Nile, there was a point late in President Obama's term where I don't think we had any ships at all at sea, any of our big battleships. And now, of course, we've got the coal in Yemen, and we've got these sanctions against Iran. I mean, we're starting to take action here. The question is, how much more action are we going to really have to take to get Iran to take us seriously this time?
Well, it's very good, Charles, to see a new approach being taken towards the Iranian regime, because we've had many, many years of appeasement from President Obama towards Tehran, and we now have a refreshing new approach, which is one of strength and resolve, which is the right approach to take towards the Iranian regime, the world's biggest state sponsor of international terrorism. So these latest sanctions send a very, very clear signal to Tehran. There's no longer business as usual. We're also seeing a larger U.S. military buildup in the region, and we are also seeing more generally far tougher language being used against the mullahs in Tehran. After all, the Iranian regime poses a direct threat to U.S. allies in the region. It poses a long-term threat to the United States. And the Iranian nuclear deal, I believe, has been an absolute disaster. And I think we're seeing a very, very new approach being taken by the United States, a very welcome approach.
Christopher, I mean, you're an Iraq vet. You know firsthand what we have fought for over there and how much blood and fortune has been lost over there. What do you make of just how we've kind of squandered it all? It's sad to say, but I think the American public believes it was all for naught up until this point.
You know, Charles, President Trump has done more to rattle Iran in 15 days than President Obama did in 8 years. You know, he's leading with strength. We're brandishing some energy now as far as saying we are going to put the sanctions on the table first as a start, but we're not going to talk about our limitations and the way we're going to limit ourselves. We're going to start from a position of strength, and we're going to start getting serious. And for the U.S. military, we still have that sting in our mouth from 2000. We take this personal. These aren't just political headaches like the Obama and Clinton administrations have treated attacks on our military personnel over the decades, and it's a new chapter in American foreign policy.
With this new chapter, Christopher, would you say that already that the morale, the esprit de corps, do you think there's a palpable improvement with our troops now that we have a new commander-in-chief who really seems to mean business?
Absolutely, Charles. You know, veterans voted for Trump 2-1. I was one of those. And with all of the stuff going on in the nation right now, this is exactly why. We have strength. He's going in there. If you want to continue to play the friendly rabbit, you can look at Senator Chris Murphy, who wrote an op-ed essentially explaining Iran and explaining that they're not a direct threat and all this stuff. We don't need to play the friendly rabbit anymore. We need to be a bull. We need to come in there, and the coal is going to be able to serve as a protective element in the regime, protect against the waterways. We're not playing games anymore. We're going to take this seriously, and I think we're in a position to make some positive changes in the region, and I'm backing President Trump's actions here.
Niall, will our allies, our European allies, back his action? I know Theresa May really pounding away at the rest of NATO, the countries that are not paying their share. She's jumped on that pretty heavily, but some are saying that the economics with Iran are too great for Europe to come all the way in. But I think President Trump is showing the right leadership to make that not necessarily a factor.
Yeah, I do think that President Trump is showing the right leadership on Iran, and that's an important message to send to Europe as well, where there has been, you know, far too much engagement with the Iranian regime. And if you look at the number of, you know, French, German, Italian companies, for example, operating now in Tehran, it's a very significant number. So there are great financial interests on the part of European countries in Tehran. But I think that, you know, national security comes first, the defense of the United States, the defense of the free world, and European countries are implementing policies of appeasement very, very dangerous for the long term.
All right, guys. Thank you both very, very much at home. We're killing it. It's all because of you, so thanks a lot. We appreciate it. Now here's Liz.
The White House imposes new sanctions against Iran as punishment for its recent ballistic missile test and its overall bad behavior in the region. The penalties targeting 13 people, a dozen